What if the version of you that succeeded before isn't the version of you that was meant to stay? So I was going to tell you a story today, but it feels not as relevant as something that is present right now. I'm at an event today. I'm speaking in Canterbury, and yesterday a couple of things happened. One thing in particular that I want to speak about is I had a really bad allergic reaction. Now you might be able to see I have got a little bit of cosmetic makeup on under my eyes, but you might be able to see that I kind of look maybe like I've had a few rounds with Mike Tyson, or or I did yesterday. Maybe you can't see that now, but you definitely could yesterday. My eyes traveling here were really itchy and puffy, and thankfully due to some cold compresses and some Pyritone, I brought it down. But the point I'm making is this question I've asked you, which is what if the success that you've achieved is not the level of success that's meant to stay? I have for a very long time been a person who has very unconsciously craved approval, I'm going to sip my Starbucks if that's all right. Craved validation, craved approval, craved a knowing that I'm perfect, craved to know that I'm enough, craved mentors to tell me that I'm doing well and all kinds of stuff, craving things that ultimately come back from the fact that I grew up without a father, and many of you know my childhood story, if you've seen my videos before. And the reason why I want to share with you about my skin today is because I remember not that long ago, if there was anything that I felt would hinder the probability of an audience, because I've been doing speaking like this for a number of years now. If I thought anything would hinder my ability to control the outcome of the event, I would just not turn up for the event. I'd get somebody else to do it. So for example, if a few years ago I'd had the kind of skin issue that I had yesterday, I probably wouldn't be here doing this event today. In fact, there was a moment yesterday where my old self came up, and I could just feel myself wanting to like bail out on the day, see if the team could get somebody else to cover me, all this kind of stuff, right? Anyway, I didn't, and I got the train here, and I'm here. Did a lot of meditation to get myself back in the right state. And the reason I'm telling you that is because, well, firstly, when I got up this morning on stage, the first thing I did is said to the audience, look, by the way, if I look like I've gone a few rounds with Mike Tyson, like I said to you in the video, I said it's because I've had this reaction. It's not contagious, don't worry, right? The significance of that is not lost on me, because here's the thing. Here's what I found in life. I found that in life, we are often, and I definitely can speak about this for me, I have been guilty of trying to be seen a certain way, trying to manufacture to be seen a certain way. And at an unconscious level, it's because there's been a question in my head that's been saying, if they see a sign of weakness in me, if they see vulnerability in me, they probably won't like me, and they will probably reject me. And if you've had a childhood like I had, then at an unconscious level, if this is resonating, if it isn't, don't worry, it's not your kind of video. But if this is resonating, what it means is at an unconscious level, you may also have a very deep-seated fear of rejection, which means that at a deep level, you may have a very high need for other people to validate and approve of you. And if you have that, here's what I've learned about myself, is that number one, nobody is ever going to validate you to the proportion where you feel whole and complete and safe. Nobody. Not a parent, not a teacher, not a mentor. Hey, you may have heard me tell have you heard me tell the Tony Robbins story before, of how I had this unconsciously, but probably quite consciously, I had this belief, right? If Tony Robbins, I'm sure everybody knows who that is, the world's #1 life coach guru, who I probably do speaking now because of being inspired by him. Read his book when sleeping in the back of my friend's gym, split up with a then girlfriend, went to his seminar, Unleash the Power Within, changed my life, started crewing events on behalf of Tony, got the honour of presenting some seminars on behalf of one of his promotional partners. So literally I've got billboards with Tony's face on it and my face. So this is the extreme of which Tony Robbins has had a positive impact on my life, but this is the extreme of which I probably have gone, oh my God, if Tony Robbins told me I'm great, Miles, I see your power. I know you read my book and went to my seminar and you're speaking and promoting me. You are enough. Right. I went, if Tony Robbins told me I am enough, it'll be like, I'll be cured of my approval seeking forever. And then guess what happened? I went to an event, Business Mastery, and I got the opportunity to speak to Tony. I went into a proper fanboy. Tony, you've changed my life. You're amazing, right? Did all that nonsense, right? Not nonsense, but I went into a proper fanboy mode, right? And then Tony shook me down. He said, thank you, Miles. I really appreciate you for saying all those lovely things about me. And I'm glad my products and my seminars helped you. And I'm glad that you've achieved what you've achieved. And I'm honoured that you have gone to that extent of helping me promote to other people. He said, but just so you know, I didn't change your life. You did. He said, because there's thousands of people that do these seminars every single year and not everybody takes action the way that you did, but you did. He said, so you got to realise you're the one that did the work. I didn't. But thank you for the compliment. Right? Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Sounds like, if you're a Tony Robbins fan, that probably for you, you're probably hearing that going, oh my God, if Tony said that to me, I would feel complete and whole and never have a worry about self-esteem ever again. That's what I thought. Day later, in came the self-doubt, in comes the comparison, in comes the approval seeking all over again. It was like a hit. It was like a dopamine rush of Tony Robbins, and then it was gone away. Tony's moved on to the next person that he's going to not try and validate, but that they think he's going to validate them and lift them up, right? Probably happens all the time. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I've come to realize that actually, first and foremost, if you're watching this video and you think there's something wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you. If you think you're incomplete, you are complete. If you think that you're not as good as he, she, and they are, forget about all that. Because that's just nonsense. That's just your mind trying to divide you and separate you from the human experience, trying to make you feel like what has happened in your life makes you special in a really bad way, right? Like I used to be like, oh, my dad left, my mum wasn't perfect. So I tell this fucking sob story for years, right? And I've kind of come to realize that no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save me. I'm great the way I am. You're great the way you are. And actually, if you really want to know how to gain the approval and the validation of other people, is number one, you got to validate yourself so that you are so in validation, in love with yourself, not in an egoic way, but in a wholeness kind of way. And then from there, you've got to make it so that you're shining the light on the people that you're speaking to and that you're helping, and not you. But I have to make a joke. I say when I speak on stage, I say to people, I say, who here, be honest, I say, who in the room, if the idea of speaking on camera or presenting yourself or networking and you have to stand up and speak in front of a room, or God forbid you're up here doing what I'm doing, be honest if judgment-free zone, I said, be honest if that scares you a little bit. And I get hands raised and I go, you know what I'm going to say to that? Said with love in my heart, get over yourself. Right? And I say that, and then I joke. I say, look, who here knows they've got a product or a service that can help people? And the whole room puts their hand up, and I say, then stop shining light on you. Start shining the light on the people you can help. My biggest problem is I've spent a very long time in my life shining the light on me. Trying to get seen, trying to get attention, trying to be seen as worthy, trying to be seen as good as he, she, and they are, who are just made up people, who probably just people on social media who I perceive are fitter than me, better than me, wealthier than me, whatever. And all that does, when you look outward, all that does is create separation from the human experience. And what it does is, if it's anything like me, it made me miserable. It didn't make me happy. It made me feel judgmental of myself and others, which is not nice for anybody. And it just, you know, if I think about my speaking, when I used to be in this state of like, look at me, I'm amazing, listen to me, and like, and wanting the audience to like me and validate me and approve of me, they invariably didn't, right? They didn't, have the inverse effect. And then when I stopped doing that and fell in love with the audience and started to be more real and authentic, like getting on this morning and going, I've had an allergic reaction, my eyes are really itchy, and I just needed to tell you that straight away, so that in case you see me today in any sort of shape or form, and my eyes look irritated, or I feel, or I look, right, it's that's what happened. So like telling them that straight away is like, they're like, he's real. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's imperfect, and he's feeling imperfect today because he's got itchy eyes and they're swollen, and he's being honest about that, right? So be you. You know, people say be you, don't they? They say be yourself. And what I've learned with that, the problem with that is most people, if I speak about me for a minute, for a very long time, be yourself was, I didn't understand that because I didn't know myself, right? If you don't know yourself, be yourself is really difficult, really difficult. And I found that it's taken things like, you know, last year I was baptized. You don't have to go and get baptized, just to be clear, but I was baptized last year. I meditate several times a day, probably spend a couple of hours a day, total duration in meditation every day. And the reason I do that is because if I don't know myself, because I'm too busy hearing the world. I'm too busy hearing other voices and other opinions and beliefs and social media. And it goes in. And if you've had an upbringing like me and you grew up without a father, and you maybe didn't have the kind of role models you maybe wanted and needed as a kid, then you might outsource yourself to other people. And then if you outsource yourself to other people, then you end up becoming like other people rather than becoming like yourself. And then next thing you know, you wake up and you feel like you're not you. And that's just a whole pile of shit, right? So yeah, feels like the end of this one. Nowhere else to go. Hey, look, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope this resonates and makes sense. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a guru. I'm just speaking about the human experience from my own experience. So if you found it useful, feel free to share it, comment, like it, whatever you want to do. That's it from me. Big love. See you next time. Peace.